16 years ago, I was living in Brunswick, Maine, doing freelance field producing for NBC News in New England. One day, on the way back from a story, I got a phone call that changed my life. It was from Jackie Taylor, the Dean of the DePaul University College of Communication. Jackie offered me a job teaching television journalism and also being the faculty advisor to a student newscast called Good Day DePaul. I accepted immediately before it was even out of Jackie's mouth and was in Chicago a month later. Coming to Chicago was a homecoming. I had previously lived and worked here for 21 years. My two kids were still here. From the beginning, DePaul was very special. Yet my first impression was somewhat underwhelming. The halls of 14 East Jackson, my second home for the next 15 years, did not resemble a college campus. They were more like an old office building. But I grew to love those hallways. They were always bustling with students and teachers. At the top were the three wonderful deans I worked for: Jackie Taylor, Salma Ghanem, and Lexa Murphy. They were all terrific in so many ways and gave me continuous support. My journalism faculty colleagues were also special. They were not only outstanding teachers, but all of them cared deeply about their students. And that's what this is all about, the students. I was lucky. I never taught a required course at DePaul, only broadcast courses that my students wanted. So they were incredibly motivated, incredibly receptive to what I tried to teach them. Honestly, I never thought of myself as a mentor, more like a guy who had worked in some really good places, then passed on everything I learned in those places to my students. I started as a student at the University of Missouri School of Journalism. I had a bunch of old school teachers there. They stressed the basics: accuracy, fairness, aggressive reporting, both sides of the story, concise and clear writing. I later passed on all of that to my students. On my second job at WITI-TV in Milwaukee, I had an assignment editor named Fred Cowley. Fred was committed to reporting the important issues of Milwaukee, issues that were critical to the people there. I tried to emphasize that same commitment to issues reporting to my students. My next job was at CBS Network News in Chicago. Again, I was fortunate. I came during the last 2 years of the Walter Cronkite era at CBS, a place many consider one of the greatest news networks ever. My bureau manager was a tough Chicago guy we just lost, named Jack Smith. Jack never gave up on a story. He was constantly pushing for more information, more interviews, more shots. I stress that same approach to my students. CBS was also a place that celebrated great writing. If you could really write, you were a star there. And I worked with some of those great writers and was blown away by their talent. And yes, I tried to pass that on to my students as well. I never felt it was enough to just teach the students. I also wanted to help them get jobs. So in the months before graduation, each student and I would work together until they got that job. And that was a day of celebration, the culmination of everything we tried to do. Many of those students are now my friends, some of them here today. They call periodically for job advice or just to say hi or visit when they're in town. It's the joy that keeps on giving from DePaul. Now a personal thought. Throughout my career, my wife Sally has been there for me at every turn. We've now been married for 55 years. When I first met her, she was the most real person I had ever met. And she is still that same real person today. I couldn't have made it without her. Finally, it's always great to be honored to get an award, but this award is even beyond that. To be honored by Carol Marine, Don Mosley, and Lisa Parker, journalists who represent everything that is good about this business. Well, that's beyond special. It means so much. Thank you guys for coming today. I appreciate it.